Very good.
Perfect.
Yay, wonderful. Now
Okay.
you know how to do it. That's
Yeah.
great.
Thank God.
Okay.
So
Well, I
I
don't
would
know what happened.
like,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
I would like to start by saying thank you because I feel really honored that you said yes to this conversation. And it's actually my first conversation.
That's
Um,
what I figured because of the recording. So congratulations. How do you
yeah.
feel?
I feel really nervous. I I
Yeah.
actually had to play. There's a piano right there. I was playing the piano just to calm down.
Do you know alternate nostril breathing?
I
It's a
know
yoga
it,
thing.
but
Yeah.
I haven't done it much.
Okay. We can do a couple minutes of alternate nostril
Oh,
breathing.
okay.
It's really what a doctor friend of mine says. I mean, I know this, but it was good hearing it from her. It's the best way, or one of the best ways for regulating the nervous system.
Oh,
So it's a really good tool for us to have, particularly this day and age. So would you like to do some?
for sure. For
Okay.
sure.
So you may remember, and you've done it, it's about closing off one nostril and so forth. So there are two different ways of doing it. I learned the Tibetan way, which is where you do it with either hand, but I think the Hindu yogi way is just to use one hand and use the fingers to
Okay.
close it off. So you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
But I'll guide us through it, and then we can just each do it on our own pace.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So
Perfect.
closing off your right nostril. Inhaling through your left nostril, count of four, and closing off both nostrils, holding for the count of four, and exhaling through the right nostril for a count of eight, holding for four counts, and then inhaling for four counts, closing off both nostrils, exhaling through the left nostril, count of eight, pausing for four, inhaling four through the left nostril, holding for four, exhaling through the right nostril, pausing for four, inhaling four, closing off both nostrils, exhaling eight through the left nostril, and then releasing both your hands and noticing how you feel. You can do it for longer if you like, or you can just sit in silence for as long as you need. And if it's okay with you, I'll start us off by what's called in Qigong connecting with the Qi field. And it's a very grounding, centering, brief meditation.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you?
Perfect.
Okay. So keeping your attention inwardly, just noticing without any judgment how your body is, how your breath is, just noticing, just being present with yourself, however you are right now. Allowing your awareness to extend down through your legs, down through your feet, down through the floorboards, deep into Mother Earth, so your roots are growing down from the bottoms of your feet, connecting with all her nourishment, all her miraculous life force. And your roots extending all the way to the other side of the planet. All the nourishment, all the groundedness traveling up through your roots from Mother Earth, up through the layers of the earth, up through the floorboards and in through your feet, up through your legs, your torso, arms and hands, neck and head, nourishing your physical body and anchoring your energy body, which permeates and encapsulates your physical body. Now imagine there's a beautiful flower on the crown of your head, and this flower opens. Crown of your head opens wide, extending beyond the rooftop, into the sky above you, beyond Earth's atmosphere, into the realm of great-grandmother Aditi, the Hindu goddess of the womb void, goddess of space, connecting with all the invisible energy of the universe, infinite potential, from which everything that we know has come, connecting with this infinite potential of the invisible energy of the universe. Inviting this infinite potential to travel down through the cosmos, down through Earth's atmosphere, down through the rooftop, and in through the open crown of your head, flowing throughout your physical and energy bodies and merging with the earth energy in you, so that you can make manifest your intentions with the infinite potential of the heavens here on earth, here in this body. And relaxing, opening, merging, uniting with the ocean of energy in front of you, all forms of energy, visible and invisible, into infinity in front of you. Back into your body, into your center, between your navel and the small of your back. Still rooted in the earth, connected with infinity, but centered. And relaxing, opening, resting into the ocean of energy behind you. All the ancestors behind you, supporting you, back to the first single-celled organism. All of life that gave birth to you, supporting you. Back into your center. Relaxing, opening, beyond walls, beyond trees, merging with the visible and invisible energy into infinity to the left of you. Back into your center. Opening, uniting with the ocean of energy to the right of you. Infinite chi to the right of you. And once again, back to your center, feeling yourself connected with the infinite ocean of energy in all directions, rooted in the earth, centered deep inside yourself. And offering up a silent intention or prayer or whatever you like to the universe for our time together and for your project. Just let whatever arises arise. No editing. And releasing that intention, that prayer to the universe, bringing your palms centered on top of one another on your navel, placing your mind in your center, your core. And we bow and give thanks to all practices of all wisdom traditions, We bow and give deep thanks to the universe for bringing us together today. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take your time.
Wow. I have another skin color and everything.
What did it change from?
I don't know, I feel much open,
Great. Yeah.
much more grounded. I can feel more connected to you as well. I could see that I had some walls between you and me. Like there was some, not fakeness, but you know, and
Distance.
yeah,
Yeah.
distance. I could sense the distance. But I didn't know how to break those walls.
Uh-huh.
But I could tell my body was tense and
Yeah.
like even frightened. And now it's much more open to
That's so
life.
great. Yeah,
I could
that's
feel the energy field as well.
great.
Yeah.
Well, it's really good that you were aware of being tense and the
Yeah.
walls and frightened. That's really good that you have that awareness.
Yeah. I do some somatic experiencing.
Oh, wonderful.
So I think that's why I've
Yeah.
been starting to
Uh-huh.
notice the distance between me and people. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So
Great. Wonderful.
more body awareness for
That's
sure.
so important. And
Yeah.
that makes me think of what I was thinking of, what was to be the main thing I would want to say. And it relates to you're talking about doing what we call SE, the somatic experience, which is, I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing with this project, because I am more convinced than ever that it is bringing the sacred feminine forefront in order for us to become into balance is the only thing that's going to save the planet. I mean, that's kind of a cliche, but
Yeah.
it's obviously very true right now. And you're feeling, being aware of your body and going on, what's going on in your body is one part of that.
Yeah.
So it's like we have what we want to do on the scale of society and the planet, but then there's also the work that we each do individually.
I think for me, like when we're talking about this, it's difficult for me to like I feel like it sounds very spiritual, and like when I try to explain it to my friends that are less spiritual, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really know how to explain the feminine or why we are or disconnected from our bodies. Like it's hard for me to explain it to someone who hasn't experienced, I don't know, like some form of yoga or of even depression and maybe yeah, I don't know, felt their bodies more,
Yeah.
that they're more
Well,
connected to their bodies in some way.
one way, I mean, I think, and I talk about this in my introduction to the Heart of the Goddess, which is that it can be laid out, I think, very practically to people in terms of we've lived in a, oh, first of all, rewind. I made some notes when I woke up this morning. I highly want to recommend, if you have the time, to read the book The Chalice and the Blade, if you haven't already, by Rian Eisler.
I haven't.
Yeah. So The Chalice and the Blade, and Rian, Riane,
Yeah.
and then Eisler, Eisler.
Okay.
She did a really brilliant job. She's definitely an elder. She's 94 now, and she has her own work for partnership studies. But anyway, in this book, she talks about the difference between dominator societies and partnership societies. So she gets away from matriarchy, patriarchy, all that stuff, which I think is really good. This book came out in the 80s, and she uses the goddess culture that was in Minoan Crete as an example of a partnership society, maybe the last partnership society in Europe. So I wanted to recommend that book.
Thank you.
Where are my notes from this morning? Well, I'll figure out what the other thing is. So what I say to people is, okay, so we've had this dominator society or male-dominated society for 5,000 years, however, 3,000 to 5,000 years. And where are we headed?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's going on the planet? Look at the results. People would have to be, if they think, they'd have to really be in denial, not to acknowledge what's going on. So this is, to me, is a really important part, that there isn't really that much difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's just our culture splits them. They're more like this.
Yeah.
And they're really human, all the qualities we put onto the feminine. So you can ask people, what do you associate with the feminine? With the feminine, not feminine, but the feminine. And, most people say cooperation, compassion, relationship.
Yeah.
So what I say is, okay, those are actually not feminine qualities. Those are human qualities. Women may have them to a greater abundance than males do, but you can look in many cultures and see where the men are compassionate, they're empathic, so forth and so on. So we need to use those words because that's the situation we're in now, but it's not our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is humanness. It's what the ancient Taoists called true humans with a capital T, capital H. So that's maybe logical enough for people to understand. Like, ask them, would you like to live in a more compassionate world? And if the answer is yes, or more, whatever world, more partnership world, whatever. If the answer is yes, then the way to get there is to elevate those who have been encouraged to develop those parts of themselves, i.e. put women in positions of power, which in Europe you have that much more than, we haven't gotten there yet. In the US, we've had a few sacrificial lambs, unfortunately. So if that's useful, you can go with that. So it's not
split.
Spiritual is not separate from the rest of life.
Yeah.
And it is maybe in Western society, and that dualistic split is our downfall. It's like separating mind and body, and
I think when we speak mind and body, it's like actually like the mind, it could be related to the masculine, and body to the feminine. I think, because, well, I don't know, at least that's what I'm kind of experiencing. Like, it's like that separation, between mind and body. I don't know, it's just, there's a split for sure.
Yeah. Well, good point. And it mirrors the split in society.
Yeah.
And what needs to be addressed is healing these splits.
And it's like you said, it starts from you. Like, if there's a split, or maybe not, I don't know.
I think it needs to be simultaneous, because I don't really honestly think we have time now to just work on ourselves and then work on society, because working on yourself is a lifelong process. So, but again, that's kind of a split. yourself first. I think it needs to be
Both.
multitudinous, all at once. Oneself. I mean, we always say I'm trying to think of the exact words, but it's like that you healing yourself, healing the society, and healing the planet. It's all one.
Yeah.
Because if you work on yourself, it's going to affect other people.
Yeah.
Again, I guess the core from what we're talking about right now is about healing the splits, healing the divides.
Interesting. Like, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I would like to share that, like, in my personal case, that brought me to even knowing who you are or reading your book was because I was living this life that was very, like, my objective was to be in the corporate world, and I was very ambitious. I'm 25, but but I started working in a company at 19, and I got really burnt out for 3 years because I had as well like a man that was harassing me basically. And I finally quit because I went to do a master's in ecology, and that saved me from that job. And and then I started doing a master's in education because that's, I think, what, like, I don't know, I just wanted to make my parents proud of me instead of living my own life. And I got into last year into like a bit of a depression, and I started reading all these books about trauma, and it was all men, Gabor Mate and Dr. Van der Kolk, like The Body Keeps the Score, really famous books on trauma, just to know what was going on. And then I discovered the YouTube videos of Star Good on the Art of the Goddesses. That's why
That's so great.
I don't know how I discovered that.
Yeah.
And for like I bought the book of the psychologist Maureen Murdoch, and she's interviewed in that series, and it, like, it explained what was going on in my life. Like, I could see that I was like, it was not fulfilling me, this going outside and having this big career. And I completely rejected the feminine. Like, I was a very creative child. I was not anymore. I, so all these qualities that we're saying about the feminine, like, I completely rejected because I think society tells us that that's not valuable. It's not gonna make us
Right.
earn money or productive. So I wasn't even able to, like, even play the piano because I knew that's not bringing me anything productive. So yeah, I can I can see the split in society, and even I talk with my friends, and not all of them, but most of them could relate to me in rejecting, our creative selves and becoming this, even men, like becoming men.
Excuse me, let me interrupt because I just want to point out something, an important link. That part of you that thought that being creative was not productive and that you couldn't make money there's a very direct connection because being creative suppressing creativity is a way of suppressing people. It's a power thing. I mean, so And that's why spirituality, which is different from religion, which is institutional, why spirituality has been repressed is because it's a way of liberating people and makes them less able to be controlled by whether it's capitalism or militarism or colonialism, all the powers that want to take power away from other people. So to me, it's really important to see the connections within the larger picture.
Yeah.
So it's not just you personally feeling that creativity is not worthwhile. That's a deliberate brainwashing that we have all
We have
been
all.
subjected to.
Yes.
It's a form of manipulation. So to me, that's really helpful in terms of personal liberation, but to see, oh my gosh, it's not just a personal thing, it's a political thing.
I actually never seen it that way.
Yeah.
I never seen it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I had not made that exact connection, but I'm seeing more and more because I've been working with Native American issues a lot the last few years and also I'm very close with the Tibetan refugee family here in my area. And I lived with the Tibetans in the early 70s, and I have a great resonance with Tibetans as people, amazing, wonderful people, and also with their cause. So what the Chinese have done to Tibet is very similar to what Europeans did to Native Americans. And I can see the level of brainwashing that went on with Native Americans, where I won't go into all the details, but to basically try to eradicate them as an independent people. But what was being eradicated or attempted to be eradicated with the Native Americans wasn't just the people, but it was their values, which were, earth-based, working communally, spirit and everyday life completely interconnected. And those, so it wasn't just an attempt to obliterate the people, it was an attempt to obliterate those values, because those values did not fit in with colonialism. It did not fit in with some people keeping all the power.
Men.
Yeah, and of just a few men,
Yeah.
too. I mean, most men do not have that much power.
No.
And again, somewhat different in Europe, but I'm just seeing what's going on politically, which brings me to Robin Wall Kimmerer. Do you know her book, Braiding Sweetgrass?
No.
I don't know how much time you have to read, but it is an essential book. She's a Native American. She's also a botanist, scientist who works with plants. And she writes very poetically, and she interweaves very skillfully. I mean, she sounds like she's just talking about berries, gathering berries from a bush. But she starts talking about economics. And actually, so somebody just gave me her third book, which is, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Maybe it's called I don't have it right here, The Service Berry or something like that. So Robin Wall Kimmerer, Kimmerer. And so her third book, the one that's supposedly just talking about gathering berries, is a whole look at some of what we've just been talking about, of that the economy that we were all raised in, and she said she was raised in it herself, she believed it too, is one of scarcity. And that there's scarcity, and then she realizes, no, that is fabricated. That a natural world, which she's immersed in as a botanist, and she teaches botany in college, is one of abundance. I mean, there's, lots of food for everyone, yeah. and everybody has their different role in it. You know, the birds eat the berries, and then they go poop the seeds somewhere else, and so then there's more. And she talks about other ways of sharing the abundance. And she says, yes, sometimes there is scarcity. There's natural scarcity, like if there's a drought or something. But it's something that everybody shares. But she says it's the manufactured scarcity that has been manufactured by capitalism, where deliberately a scarcity has been created so that people will have to, so things get more expensive, and people will have to buy them. And she uses water as an example that in Native American cultures and traditional and indigenous European cultures. I mean, you and I both had ancestors that followed the natural ways and honored the earth and the moon and the sun and so forth. Saw water as sacred and as everyone's responsibility to protect water and to share water. And so, but what's going on in the US and probably all over the world is the waters have been polluted by mining and logging and so forth. So then you have companies that sell water to people in bottles because it's not safe to drink the water, the natural water anymore. And so it's a really good example of the complete topsy-turviness of our world.
Yeah. It's the system that some men have created in order to have power.
Well, and she talks about and which I applaud you for leaving the system or seeing the flaws in the system. You may still work in the system in some different ways, but yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad, and yeah, it's very sad, and like, yeah, it's difficult not to get out of the system. I think it's impossible, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. Even she says that.
Yeah.
But she talks about this Native American mythological figure called the Wendigo. And in Tibet Buddhism, they're hungry ghosts. And both the Wendigo and the hungry ghosts are these creatures. The hungry ghosts they have really thin throats, and they can't, no matter how much they eat, they can't get nourished because it can't get down through their tiny little throats. And so sometimes you see people who are like hungry ghosts. So we all have some version of the hungry ghost where we just want more, more, more. And in
I think because we are not connected on it, like, to what's important in life. I generally, like, we're very with our phones, computers, not connected with play, like even with the people, I don't know, who surrounds us. I feel like people are starving. Like,
yes.
like even myself included. And it's very sad. It's very sad. But
So you feel, I'm thinking that your sadness is, I mean, that's accurate. And for me, it's also kind of exciting and inspirational to actually see the patterns and see the truth, because that's a way to liberation.
yeah, it's a positive.
Yeah, but I mean, it's okay, and it's not to say we shouldn't acknowledge our sadness and our grief.
No, for sure.
But actually, again, back to Qigong, we do these healing organ sounds, and you transmute excessive grief into compassion. So in every...
I need Qigong.
Yeah,
I have grief.
I used to... you have a lot of grief?
not a lot, but
Uh-huh.
I have a bit, yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe sometime we can do a session with the organ sounds. During the pandemic, I started teaching Qigong online, and I had a few students in Europe, Americans who lived in Europe. But now I just teach early evening, which is not good for people in Europe. But anyway, I'd be happy to
I
share. Oh, you know what? I have them online. I have
I'm
a
I
whole bunch
think
of videos
okay.
online.
Okay. I think I have them because
Okay.
before messaging you for this interview, I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to try Qigong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think I haven't done it, if I'm
Uh-huh.
honest.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
But I would like to. I would like to.
Yeah.
I should maybe. Um, I'm gonna change a bit. I'm gonna
Yes.
ask you some questions that I have
Mm-hmm.
that I would really want to know.
Okay.
And I read that you went from the UK to Nepal at 22 by car, by yourself.
Not by myself, no.
Oh, okay, not by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to know at 22, in because I'm 25 and I cannot imagine myself doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did it came about? What did your family think or your relatives, your
Yeah.
friends? I don't know. Because you're
Yeah.
from like I'm European, like I'm from Spain, so at least it's the same, you know. You're from the US. So how was that? Why did you do it? What moved you? What did
Yeah.
you learn?
Well, I learned a lot, and some of what in the first chapter of Womanspirit, I talk about that. But I'll first will say if I had known ahead of time what I was getting myself into, I would never have done it. It's a good, I'm glad I didn't know because it ripped my world wide open. And of course, it was a different time. It was a different time economically. It was a different time. Anyway, I graduated from college in 1969, and there's just a lot breaking open then, even in the Ivy League college that I went to. There was those options, and the Vietnam War was going on, and I felt like I really wanted to travel. And I found out that my senior year in college, I found out that I turned 21, and I found out my grandmother had left me some money, which meant I had a couple $100 a month, which went much farther then than it would now. And so I figured I wanted to travel, and I figured that I wanted to. It's very silly reasons. I wanted to go to Afghanistan because I'd read about it in National Geographic
Yeah.
magazine, and it looked wild, like just very primal
At the
culture.
time, Afghanistan was like, at least I read once that it was full of hippies. Or
Full of hippies.
there were
There,
hippies going to Afghanistan or something. I
there
read.
were there were a few, yeah,
Yeah.
and it
Not
was
anymore, I think.
no, you can't no, can't go there.
No.
It will risk your life.
Yeah.
I know people who are trying to rescue people out of Afghanistan. But anyway, and I had studied ancient Greek and Latin when I was young, and so I wanted to go to Persepolis, which is this ruin in southern Iran, because I remember translating texts that talked about that, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. So that was it. That's all I
Okay.
knew. So I graduated from college, and I figured, well, I can't just go straight to Istanbul. That's like too big a leap. I'll go to London where I can speak the language and get a job and
Wow.
try to get myself oriented, because there was work relationships between the US and England then. And it took about 6 months for me to get myself oriented and feel grounded enough and find a few people to travel with. And my parents had said that they would give me a car for my college graduation present. And I know that they meant a car to drive to my job, working for some liberal senator in Washington, that they'd helped get the job or something. And I said, okay, I want a VW bus to drive to India in. And my mother was like, sure. And my father was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your expensive education to help people? But by the time he wrote me that letter, and that's how you communicated then, was letters. You didn't phone, you didn't, of course, you didn't have text or anything. It was too late. I mean, I'd already picked out the van. And to my father's credit, even though he said, I can get you a job at a newspaper in London. Anyway, to his credit, they stuck to their word, gave me the money to buy the van, used VW bus. I found a few other people to travel with. One was somebody I'd gone to college with that I knew peripherally, and another was a couple men that I'd met. And I only knew one other woman that wanted to make the trip, but I really didn't feel comfortable with her. So at first it was a lot of fun. 3 other friends joined us on the trip through Europe, and then we spent a couple weeks in Istanbul. But then they all had to go back to their university or jobs. And so we were living very, very simply. Like I said, I had a couple $100 a month, but that you had to live at a very basic level. And then I went through fundamentalist Muslim countries and had my world ripped wide open. I was so shocked and appalled. And then we wound up in India. India was the end of the road. And by then I had amoebic dysentery, but I didn't know it. So I was kind of out of it. And it was so hot. This is how things happen. This wasn't like some grand plan. It was like, oh, I want to go to Persepolis because I've translated texts about it, And then you wind up and it's 112 degrees in New Delhi, and it's like, you can't move. And so an Indian friend said, well, go up into the mountains. And my boyfriend, my lover, we said, well, where? And they said, well, Kulu Valley is nice, so we drive the van up there and lived in the mountains. And then I did want to live in remote places. So we found a place where there was a little village, but I didn't want to be in a village. I wanted to be away. And so we found a little hut, literally a hut, to rent, and spent 3 months just living in the mountains. And that...
Wow.
Just waiting out the monsoon. So again, it's all just kind of circumstances, or put one foot in front of the other. And that really I felt like a lot of my conditioning was being cleared out of my brain.
I can imagine.
Just sitting in the mountains all day long. I mean, we were reading, so we were still kind of in that world. I'd studied a little bit of meditation, but and then one morning I woke up and I hated everything. I mean, you could say I was horribly depressed. I hated the trees and the valley and everything.
Wow.
So I just knew I had to get back to my own country. And again, I had amoebic dysentery, but I didn't know it. So my boyfriend and I went back to New Delhi, and I was trying to sell the van, but I had a buyer at the American embassy, but it was, and we're definitely hippies. I mean, my boyfriend had hair down to his waist, and I wore long dresses, either a long dress.
I could imagine.
Or blue jeans. Sometimes I wore blue jeans. Anyway, it was too difficult with the Indian bureaucracy to do the paperwork to sell the car, and it was getting into fall, and it was getting too late if we had to drive back. So it was simpler to drive from India to England than it was to sell the car because of the Indian bureaucracy.
Wow.
So, and then I came back, and then I was really depressed because I came back to my life, and all my friends were in graduate school or getting married, and I had had my world ripped wide open by being in the fundamentalist Muslim countries. It rocketed my feminist consciousness sky high. And sitting in the mountains just like totally cleared
Open.
out so much conditioning. So I could say in some sense it rocketed my spiritual consciousness sky high. And I also met Tibetans who were just the most amazing people. They were refugees living in tents, working on the roads.
Wow.
So I came back and fortunately was able to find out that I had amoebic dysentery, get treated for that, but I didn't know what to do. I mean, so I went to, stayed at my family's farm, and I just remember one night just sitting on my bed sobbing, and I was not used to that. And my mother was totally not. She was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what to do. It's like, I don't, nothing in this world," I didn't say this, but nothing in this world I couldn't relate to it, to America in late 1970. And she said, "Well, Planned Parenthood is starting a clinic in Baltimore doing abortion counseling." Abortion was illegal in Maryland then, the state I grew up in. And she said, "And you can do it with me if you want." So I was like, "Oh, good, okay." So I stayed at the farm for 6 or 8 months, and my mother and I would go into Baltimore and do abortion counseling. And I got treated for the amoebic dysentery and lost the 20 pounds I'd put on from trying to eat. I remember I was backpacking cans of tuna up in the Himalayas. It's like I should have been eating rice and dal, not cans of tuna. So what did I learn from the trip? I learned that I was very lucky to be a Western woman. I learned that there's horrible discrimination and oppression going on that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I learned that there's also an amazing amount of freedom, like I discovered in the mountains. I learned that people can be, this is from this perspective, people can be trained to be good people, like the Tibetans, have a very elaborate practices to train them to be compassionate and caring, and they're also very healthy and good-humored and smart, and I think it's a lot because that's how they're conditioned.
Yeah.
So I think that sums it up. That's what I learned, and then I've got physically and mentally much better, and so that's spent the next couple of years living in different places, studying yoga, studying inner guide meditation. Seriously considered becoming a Tibetan Buddhist nun because I thought it was the most sophisticated psychology I knew of. So went back to live with the Tibetans in Dharamsala this time, but then realized...
So you went back?
I went back, yeah. This was by plane this time. Because you couldn't, I think maybe by then you couldn't drive, but I didn't want to drive again. I mean, it's a very long drive.
Yeah.
But I finally realized, much as I love the Tibetans, and amazing as they are, that it was still hierarchical and still patriarchal.
I read that in your book,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so thought, okay, I've seen how horrible things are for women, but I know I can't go to another country and start telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So that means going back to my own country. And if I wanted to work for women at that point, early 1973, that meant being in a city, because I tried doing that in different places in the US and there's not much happening. And the only city in the US I could see living in was San Francisco. So I came to the Bay Area, and very quickly, I mean, there was so much going on in the 70s around feminism and spirituality and body, mind, and just incredibly creative. So that was a rich world. And within less than a year, I was teaching my first Womanspirit class at the urging of a mentor. So it's very good to have mentors. She suggested I get together with other women who had a feminist perspective on spirituality, but at the time the two were totally split. They didn't.
Yeah.
Feminism thought spirituality was the opiate of the masses, and spirituality was male dominated, either whether it was churches or yoga ashrams, and harmful to women, with all these sex scandals coming out and so forth from the yoga ashrams.
Oh, yeah.
So I wound up getting together with a group of women, and it was so exciting that we all felt the same way, that I write about this in Womanspirit. And so I was just so excited. I just started writing about it and teaching more classes, but it was just really one little baby step at a time.
Yeah.
All of this. So I want to say that to you. It's not like Athena full sprung from Zeus's head. It all is, maybe there's some big leaps sometimes, but it's just putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. I have so many questions. I don't even know.
We may have to schedule another time.
Yeah.
Do all of them. I could do one more question. I mean, I think it's
Okay.
great you have so many questions, but what's your most important question right now?
So I'm gonna ask the most important. How do you incorporate the feminine into your life, daily life, or the spiritual into your daily life? Like as a young woman and now. How
Yeah.
or how did you balance your work life and your spiritual life? I don't know.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I was fortunate that I had that money from my grandmother because it meant that I had to work when I came back to the West, but I only had to work part-time. And that meant that I could develop my own work, the Woman Spirit work, and start making money from that. But I think partly because of my inclination, I was thinking about this just this morning, actually. I would spend an hour, the first hour after I woke up every morning, doing whatever form of meditation I was doing then. For several years, it was working with an inner guide. And then for several years, it was doing the Sonoy dream work, where you rework your dreams to a beneficial conclusion. I just really wanted to do that. So it wasn't.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I know people who who have to work or had to work, because most people I know are retired now, but anyway, had to work 9 to 5, but they would wake up,
Earlier.
an hour early so they could do their meditation, or they could work on their book or whatever it was.
Okay.
It's just easier to do it in the morning, because then as the day goes,
Yeah.
it gets
And
it's harder to focus.
yeah. And sorry, but maybe I didn't understand. You were working maybe part-time, and then you had this group of women and you were teaching them.
Yeah.
Okay? And you earned your living from the Womanspirit groups, or
Yes. I mean,
okay.
the supplement to the money that I had from my grandmother, the supplement. But before that, like when I first came to San Francisco, I worked in, I don't know, you probably don't, anyway, there were these shoes in the 70s called Earth shoes that were developed by a Danish woman. And they had a negative heel, and it was this whole thing. It was supposed to be better for your body. Anyway, it was something that people were doing. So I worked in an Earth shoe store.
And and the other question is, how, when you work like in your book, Womanspirit, which I love, by the way,
Okay.
you talk about dreams, right? And I don't know, all these rituals, all these things how did you learn about all of this? Did you read any psychologist in women's psyche? Because I've read, for example, I don't know if you know her, Marion Woodman, and she works with dreams. And you know, you had all this knowledge, and I was like, how did she learn all of this? And it's like, I don't know, centered in one book.
Well, thank you. Yes. And that was a lot of work. I worked on that book for years and years. And some of it was from reading. I think I read in the early 70s when I was traveling more. But then when I got to the Bay Area, as I said, there was so much going on.
You learned.
And I learned the Sonoy Dream method because I met some woman was in a women's group I was in, and she was a psychologist, and she was really into the Sonoy dream work. And we met once a month for a year, a group of people, women, reworking our dreams. And then I took it into my classes, and I combined it with improvisational theater. And, you know, I mean, sometimes I look back now, it's like, what? You know, I combined Sonoy dream work, which is very creative anyway, with improvisational theater, but yeah, and it worked. But I will also say, in between the two trips to Asia, I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and even though that was a town of 30,000, it was a very creative place, and that's where I learned the inner guide work. And so, you know, there are people around doing things. So it's partly from books and partly from being in groups. But I also want to say, so you asked, how do I integrate it now? Now my, quote, spirituality is much more integrated into my daily life, and that's inseparable from being in nature, whether it's gathering rose petals to make sachets, or it's being out hiking, or whatever. To me, being in nature is really essential. And I still just do different practices because, you know, there's the carrot. I don't know if you know this phrase, the carrot, you know, to lure people to get to do things. There's approaches called the carrot or the stick, and the stick is where you hit the donkey, and the carrot is where you hold where you hold it out, and the donkey goes for the carrot. Is that I just feel better when I do these practices. So that's the motivation. It's not to be a spiritual person. It's that
you feel better.
I feel better, or my day goes better, like some kind of magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would also like to talk about healing with the hands, but maybe it's a lot for today.
Yeah. I wanted to say something more about what we were just talking about. I want to just say something about, I guess I just want to say again, it's about integrating so much. Spirituality is not separate. Spirituality is being with someone, how you treat the people you're with, how you treat your body. It's how you treat the earth. It's because spirituality to me means everything, the connection between everything. It's not a separate thing. I could lead you through a practice of healing with the hands right now, and then we could close.
Perfect.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, that feels amazing.
Have you done some energy work with your hands? Feeling the energy between your hands?
Like, honestly, I think I've done it, but like without knowing I was doing it.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, closing your eyes gently, feeling your connection with the earth and with the infinite ocean of energy in all directions, feeling your center between your navel and the small of your back, and gently rubbing your hands together. And then letting your hands be a few inches apart, playing with moving your hands a little apart and then a little together. And noticing if there's a distance where you're more able to feel anything between your hands. Maybe it's closer, maybe it's farther away. Do you feel any sensation or... Yeah. So with your inhalation, let your hands go a little apart from one another. And with your exhalation, bring them slightly together. As you inhale, your hands move slightly apart. You can imagine that you're expanding into infinite. And as you exhale, your hands come slightly together and you're drawing in the infinite potential into space between your hands. It's like there's a ball between your hands, expanding into infinity and receiving from infinity. And your hands are relaxed but alive, not tense but not floppy. And just noticing what your experience is, again, without any judgment. Feeling this sensation between your hands. And then still keeping this sensation. If there's any part of your body you would like to direct the healing to, moving your hands to around that part of your body, not necessarily touching. And again, hands moving apart, slightly expanding into infinity, and then hands moving slightly together, drawing in the infinite energy into that part of your body. Expanding into infinity with a subtle movement of your hands and drawing in from infinity into this part of yourself with a subtle movement of the hands. And then slowly releasing your hands, very slowly bringing them once again centered on top of your navel. And placing your mind in the center between your navel and the small of your back. This is your belly brain, your most important brain. And once again, we bow and give thanks for our presence together, for these practices, and for the wisdom that we are carrying on.
Thank you. I'm going to stop recording.